It is an absolute pleasure and joy to welcome in the general manager of the decade. It is not Nelson Luis, as it says right there at the bottom. They're using his phone. It is the great Jason Light of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's up, Jason? How are you? How you feeling? A few days out from the first week of NFL football.
Well, excited, just like everybody else, all the Bucks fans. You know, been a long camp because we're looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this first game for a long time now, and just kind of shored up the roster, making some final tweaks here today in the practice squad. It's never an easy couple days releasing players, but
Yeah.
that's always the hardest part. But now it's kind of turns to excitement about the year.
These numbers of your roster are really off the charts. 22 of the 23 players you've drafted in the last 3 years are on this roster. That never happens. All 7 of last year's draft picks, the last 2 draft classes, you've got only 3 players over 30. It's one of the youngest rosters in football, but universally, by most people, you're a playoff contending team. And what makes, I think, this most amazing, Jason, is you guys never went into the post Super Bowl abyss like every team has to go through. You have to cross over from winning to that downturn of high draft or low draft choices, all those things, how they punish you, people rating your team, your players, your coaches. And you've come off on the other side as now a young contending team on the rise. That's almost impossible to do. What was the strategy? How did you accomplish it?
Well, it wasn't easy, and I'm always going to answer this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I've got a great staff, and we've got great coaches, but I've got a great scouting staff and support staff and Greenberg and Jackie Davidson. So we had to have a plan, and the plan was we better draft really freaking good. and I told the scouts and Spytek and Beal and McCartney and all the scouts, we had kind of a few powwows. I said, listen, the only way to get out of this, as still being a contender, is we've got to add a lot of youth to this roster because of the dead cap charges that we were taking, and we've got to add a lot of rookies and undrafted free agents, and I need them to be able to play, and we need them to be able to be good and contribute. So luckily it's worked out.
And your philosophy has obviously, I've covered every one of your drafts, and your philosophy has evolved, and the effectiveness has evolved obviously as well. What did you change? What are the things that you zeroed on to make you and your staff better drafters?
We focused. First of all, you always focus on you narrow it down to the players that can actually play.
Right.
So, that's, I don't want to say that's the easy part, but that's the easier part of the process. My 10-year-old Theo can tell me that, the receiver at Ohio State's pretty freaking good player, so, but the hardest, then it's not so easy on all the other players, but
right.
But the hardest part is getting to know the person. And I've said it a million times that the misses we've had are the misses above the neck, not because of their ability, on their athletic ability or their speed or what have you. So we needed to zero in on the qualities we felt that made the great ones great off the field, and their intangible, their traits, call them. So we did a pretty big deep dive on what those traits would be, and then we focused a lot of time trying to make sure that these players have these traits, and that's the hard part. So the other part is that's also hard, it's easier said than done, is removing players from the board before the draft that you just have a lot of questions and concerns over. And it's hard because some of these guys are really, really talented, and you think, well, we can reach him, or he'll change.
We'll change him.
Gets here.
Yeah.
And that just kind of got tired of finding out that you can't change him. So in most cases. So
yeah. How do you find that stuff out? Is it talk? I mean, obviously coaches are going to tell you they're the greatest players and the greatest kids ever. You got to go back doors, I'm imagining. Without giving away any trade secrets, how do you find that critical information?
Well, we're no different than any other team doing it, but you got to have great scouts and that have been in their area for a while, or if they haven't been in their area for a while, they've been taught by our other scouts the best methods to find those things out, the best people to talk to. It's not necessarily the people in the football building. It may be, someone in the academic building. There's just a lot of different. And then we interview them in person, and after so many interviews, you can kind of figure out the bullshit. So
you got some intuition. Do you stick with your intuition on this?
I do now. I'm not always right, but
right.
I'm not. There's a lot of things I'm not very good at in life. But one thing I think I've always had is a pretty good gut feel for people. So I think that's what helped me get this position that I'm in and kind of move up. This is not me tooting my horn. I'm just saying that's like,
I know you don't do that. Let me do that for you. So it's my observation that relationships is what you're about, and the culture has become within this building, and I've seen it evolve. And the reason you can sign a Mike Evans and a Baker Mayfield, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way at all, under market value, is because they want to be here. You have created a culture where these guys want to be here. I think it starts at the top with trust and ownership and management. And I believe you, as a very unique and authentic person, have developed those relationships. We hear it from the players. These are not just your players. These are family. And I think it's unique. I've covered a lot of organizations here, different regimes. It's unique. And I guess the question is, how have you gone about that? Is it just natural to you? Did you develop? Because I think sometimes guys come in and they want to try to be the general manager, something that they're not. And I think it's a mistake. How did you evolve this culture into what it is today?
I wanted to make sure when I took the job, one of the things I hit the Glazers on was during the interview was I'm going to be me. I'm going to be authentic. I'm not trying to be Bill Belichick, as the GM. Bill Belichick is his own person, and he's very successful for being authentic because he's been authentic. So I can't try to be him or be Andy Reid or be Don Shula or Jimmy Johnson. I got to be me. I've always believed in it. My parents did a great job, I guess. My sister and I have one sibling. We've always just been taught just to be real and be tell the truth and not be a bullshitter. And I think having direct conversations it works. And so people know what they're getting. So, but I can't take the credit for it. I can take credit with my staff for bringing in some unbelievable guys, but it started with Bruce and now it's with Todd. Todd has fostered an unbelievable culture here where that the players just love coming to work every day. And I'm not the coach. He's our leader. He's steering the ship right now during the season. And the players love the just the whole atmosphere.
What was harder, getting Baker done or getting Mike done? And how important were the wives in this, Ashley and your wife and the others involved?
I mean, they both kept me up. I think it was Mike, because once we got Mike done, we were able to focus on Baker, and Baker, saw it as an even more appealing place with Mike in place.
Makes sense.
And I've been together with Mike. He was my first pick, and I know him on such a personal level. And our wives, Blair and Ashley, know each other so well. So those two had a lot to do with it, because all year long, whenever we'd see them, Blair would, rush off in the corner and talk to Ashley, say, "Hey, just don't stress. We're going to get something done. Everybody wants Mike, And then Ashley telling Mike, this is where you need to be. So, I mean, as usually the case, Blair saves the day with Ashley.
Wow. Jason Licht joining us here. So with everybody picking the Falcons, how much do you love that? And how much do you love the DNA of it? And I've said this before, the chip on the shoulder from Baker matches this blue collar town. It kind of matches who you are as a person. It matches the team. And now it's happening where everybody once again is overlooking the Buccaneers. I mean, you must hate it when anybody picks you to win anything. Like, this is your space, right? This is where you want to be.
I remember talking to you, not this offseason, last offseason at an event.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, can you believe these people are picking us to win 2-3 games?" And you said I should send them a bottle of scotch.
You should.
You
You
remember that?
should. Yes. Did
I
you? Did you? You
I
should.
should have.
Yeah. I picked you guys to go to the playoffs. You made me look at it, and you made me some money. I appreciate that. And I'm doing it again this year. So keep it coming. You keep the odds low. Like this helps us out tremendously as fans. We're doing really well in the market. So, but you got to be happy that you love this spot.
I do. I like, especially with the quarterback. You know, the most important position on the team. The way that he responds to that is, I think, has kind of driven us. So
Yeah.
whenever I see an article or Spy Tech or the guys here in the front office see an article that that's saying that he sucks, we send it to him right away. So because we know that that's going to help us in the end.
The head prick.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. And as you look, how excited are you about this particular roster? And I'm going to pick out one player that I think kind of was a key to this whole draft, and that's Graham Barton, obviously the guy at the top. I thought that center was your biggest need, and you found the best one in the draft, that staying at where you were. This is part of your offseason. Everything is kind of, I'm not going to say it's been easy, but you've had some good fortune. It's come to you, but you've taken advantage of it. How big of a difference does he make in this draft class?
Huge. He's lived up to his bill so far, and he's got a ton of room to grow, which is kind of scary because he's already playing very, very well. One person I got to give credit to here is Hainsey. Hainsey has been his biggest cheerleader. And
how about that?
And I just kind of recently saw a mic'd up segment that'll be out where they're talking before the game, and Hainsey's giving him getting him motivated, and it's just very cool to see. And that's what that O-line room. That's what that O-line room is all about. And I learned a long time ago that the whole organization revolves around how that O-line room gets together, because that's a very, very important unit for all of us. Keeps the quarterback healthy, and and we go as far as the O-line takes us. So when that room is very happy and gets along great, it's great for all of us. But Graham has fit right in. He's super smart, very physical, very talented athletically, and runs like a deer. And it was a joy to see that screen the other night. Him and Tristan and Cody and getting out in space. It was nice. It was a 6 to midnight moment.
That for an old offensive lineman, you love that stuff, don't you? You just like it's just like the X's and it's like a symphony coming together, is it not?
It sure is, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I know we had short on time, but this might be just go to where this all started. I mean, there were some lean times for you, and I think it's unusual the patience that the Glazers showed because they believed in you and your authenticity, and then getting Bruce to come here, which got Tom to come here, and the rest is history. Those moments, as you look back on them now and where you sit right now, what was it like sitting through them, and how much more gratifying is it now to be where you're at with that trophy?
It's really hard to put into words. I mean, I'll have flashbacks of there's been some nights Blair and I sat at home thinking, it's the end of the year and we don't know where this is going to go. And, I probably had every reason to move on from me. And luckily they didn't. And will be eternally grateful to them. They're a very fair family, and they've treated me very, very well. And especially this offseason, given me we couldn't do what we did without money.
Exactly.
And they gave me a lot of money to be able to do it. So I'm grateful to them for that as well.
Well, couldn't happen to a nicer person, my friend. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this for me and the fans as well. They love you. These are great times. You deserve every bit of it. Thanks to the owners as well for their patience, because it has paid off tremendously for this entire community. Thank you so much, Jason, and great luck this season.
Hey, thanks, JPP.
You got it. You're the last one to call me. That was JPP. So I appreciate that. Thanks. Another great pickup.